This is Money Made Simple, the financial podcast that keeps it simple and gets to the point.
Kia ora and welcome back to Money Made Simple, brought to you by Simplicity. Today we have a very exciting guest who's probably more famous than us. Welcoming Sabby Jey, the kind of serial entrepreneur, I reckon. And
serial?
Yeah.
It's the first time I'm hearing that, but I do like it.
But with regards to kind of finance, what we talk about, creator of a viral series called Boujee on a Budget. So welcome, Sabby. Nice to have you on.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. What a cute studio.
Isn't
I love
it?
Yeah.
So let's just start with a little bit about your background, like where you come from, how you grew up, and with a kind of particular lens on how you grew up around money and your views on that.
Yeah, sure. So I studied a degree in finance and I have a couple of companies. So I own a marketing agency and I'm a co-founder of a second content agency called Not The Ordinary. Like you said, I have my Boujee on a Budget series, so I make a lot of content. And I think that content was really inspired by my upbringing. Both my parents came here separately as refugees. They didn't have much education, so just barely out of high school. My mum had a bit of higher education, but not applicable here. So obviously we had to start really from scratch. But with what little we had, my parents just provided us the best life. But it was all with the hacks, the discount codes, the coupons, the saving on gas with, you get your 9 cents off at the grocery store. And I think that was a big factor into me being inspired to share the series because I feel like, we really did come from nothing. My dad was the provider in the family, so he knew how to make the money go far. Yeah. My mum presented everything very cute. So she inspired the Boujee part. I think my dad inspired the budget part.
Cool. Do you think you were always pretty good at finances because of that upbringing?
No.
No, not necessarily.
No, that's why I think this series is so important. Before I went into uni, I worked as a waitress at Sky City. Mm-hmm. And man, I was so broke. Like I couldn't barely make ends meet. I didn't have a good work ethic. I wasted my money on really, useless things and couldn't even afford like my water bill. And then when I started my business, initially I was a broke business owner. So it wasn't that I wasn't good with money. There just wasn't enough money. There was a lot of financial restraints, which only now that my career is built and I'm getting the money and I can be still very savvy with it. I refuse to eat a meal unless it's with a nightly special or a happy hour.
Okay, on that note, tell me how Boujee on a Budget actually came about. Like, was it like a moment or an inspired event or anything like that?
So during COVID, I started doing TikTok. And I was just making really silly videos. It was just experimental. And that's how I then got into, being a content creator as well. And during that time, I made this video where I went to Sky City and I called it Boujee on a Budget. And I was like, you can get cocktails for $16. You can access the Sky Tower for free at the Sugar Club.
I've seen this video.
Yeah, the original was shot so badly, but that video still got 6,000 likes. So I was like, I'll try it again. And then I tried it at this buffet place called Saffron, this beautiful buffet in the old railway station. It was only $17.90 for a full buffet and a traditional South Indian coffee or tea. And I think that's a video that got like 200-300K views. It got like tens of thousands of likes and shares. And then I was like, okay, there's clearly interest in this. So I redid the Sugar Club video again. Okay. And
that's the one I've seen that has loads of views.
Yeah, just replicate.
The $2 bread, right?
Yeah, it's like $2 bread. But it's a beautiful slice of bread. You get olive oil and butter. It's just a nice little snack and drink. You're not there to be filled. You're there to have like an experience. So you eat at home, you come out and enjoy a little cocktail and a slice of bread or some olives. And that was my whole thing of like changing the way you dine and experience life on a budget, still enjoying the experience without going out to eat.
And spending a whole lot of money, right?
To be honest, I can't justify eating a 3-course meal out with a cocktail. And I never will, not even on my birthday.
That whole concept of lifestyle creep, I think it's a great thing to keep in mind is you can keep being savvy, like you've talked about, even when you could afford to be less savvy, like that's a really
but it's
smart
like a
money
choice.
habit.
But yeah, I can go on about this. But anyways, that's the origin of Boujee on a Budget. And then it just blew up. It was like in the media and then I was like, now I have to be the Boujee on a Budget girl, don't I?
Yeah, this is your new media personality.
But I saw like a real interest and purpose in this. And I also saw how it does tie in with my values, that it's making financial education accessible to people who need it the most, showing them how they can enjoy their life. And I think by doing that, they actually gain more financial confidence versus always feeling like
They're not good enough or rich enough.
yeah,
or...
rich enough. So having a tiny experience will actually elevate their mood for the week. I'll tell you now, I spent more money when I was broke than I do now. Back there, I was buying so much clothes, eating out, drinking all the time. You know, now that I've become bougie on a budget, I actually have more money and I'm also spending way less because I'm actually very happy with the little purchases that I make. So I've changed my views on spending and materialism as well.
Well, also, I mean, you have to walk the talk, right? So it sounds like there's a lot of highs. You've seen your series go viral. You've probably helped a lot of people feeling like they weren't rich enough. Any lows?
I think the issue for me is like I had a car accident a couple of years ago and I also went through quite like a awful experience and I was diagnosed with PTSD. So on top of working, I've been working so hard on like my mental health and improving myself as a person. That journey has really set me back in being able to make the videos because each video is such a big output that you want to be putting out content, and I want these videos to be good and meaningful. And then another thing is not being a sellout. So I get offered all the time to come in and have experiences for free. And so with Boujee on a Budget, every experience you've seen on my page, I've paid for, even though I've been offered stuff for free. There are some that I turn down, like it will be someone saying like, oh, I think like a $99 long lunch is Boujee on a budget. And I'm like, dude, even I wouldn't pay $99 for a long lunch and think it's Boujee on a budget, you know? It has to be affordable. And I think of a woman barely making ends meet. What could she afford at the end of the month if she was to save $5 every week to have a nice experience even just once a month? But it's tempting to get all these offers and money, but not everything aligns.
No, totally. And so that community that you've kind of developed, has that been quite a niche group of people that you feel like really connect with this content?
It's quite wide, actually. It's like a huge range of, I think, every woman who kind of wants to be more financially savvy in this economy. I also think it's like across different niches. So there's people who are there for the food, the experiences, for shopping, beauty and fashion. So, and it's all about sustainability as well. Like while I might say here, this is something that's cheap, is it quality that it will last a long time?
Absolutely. Okay, obviously you've got Boujee on a Budget. And there are these videos that have gone viral, but give me a couple of examples of how you actually embody this whole Boujee on a Budget lifestyle in your own life.
Yeah, sure. I like to find coupons and codes to save money all the time. Even if I'm want to buy this t-shirt, I will still go onto like a online secondhand website and see, can I find it for cheaper? And I think anytime I save that money, I try to put it into investing. Even if it's $5, even if it's $2, you can note on your phone, even if you save 50 cents. And at the end of every week when you're doing your budget, you can check and transfer that money. I think one of the biggest ones for me is buying everything secondhand where possible, except underwear. And then, sorry. And
Good caveat.
Yeah. And then when I'm going out, always looking for places for free parking and choosing, dining and experience options on sale. So, there's all these websites, all these food websites where you can get 50% off your dining, coupons. Even for my nails, if I need to go get my nails done, I still go onto those, deal websites and choose a coupon for it.
That's such a good point. I feel like we've almost been so flooded with all of those options that it becomes noise and people forget that they actually can help you.
I think any time before you spend money, the first thing I think is, how can I save the money?
And how you spend also, right? I love that. Obviously, we are in a real cost of living crisis at the moment. Our economists talk about it. There's a recession going on. Those people that are struggling to meet everyday costs, do you think that this whole Boujee on a Budget idea can still apply to them?
1000%. I honestly think that while you're in a cost of living crisis, you don't want to feel like you're just surviving and barely making ends meet. I think the best thing you can do is find ways to save money in everyday living, right? From your bills to your food. I don't buy anything from any of the grocery stores unless it's on the specials, you know? Meat, everything. And I always go and look for the meat with the stickers on it.
The reduced sticker.
I love my reduced for stickers. If you shop and live that way, you'll even save $10, $20, $30. That money you can choose to either have a nice experience or you can choose to put that money in saving and change your financial future slowly. So I do think even the little amounts count. And I always say the first thing you should do is find ways to save and build that emergency fund of just $1,000. And it can take you a year. It can take you 2 years. But that's the way that you're showing yourself you can get out of your financial situation slowly. But learning financial freedom starts with that small amount of saving. The only way you can learn to save is by being bougie on a budget in your everyday.
Yeah, so savviness doesn't have to just apply to luxury items and, you know, the wants rather than the needs. That can actually apply to the needs as well. Obviously, you talked about having a really wide-ranging female audience for your content and probably some of your other entrepreneurial pursuits. Do you think that women in New Zealand, and also especially second or third generation women in New Zealand, have unique pressures or issues in kind of today's modern New Zealand?
Totally. I think, you know, women's roles have really changed. They're now in the workforce while also taking care of their family and also taking care of running the house. And I've seen a lot of my female friends fall into this and they're absolutely exhausted. And I think they use a lot of their money towards their family over themselves. And I think obviously the other pressures that they're facing is comparing yourself to people online, because now it's all in your face, right, on social media. And it's like, oh, you've got these holidays and you've got these designer clothes and you've got Botox and filler, and it's, you know, all these pressures to spend your money to look the part, and that all costs money. And those pressures are financial pressures, really, because
as well as societal pressures, right? Yeah,
societal pressures to how you should spend your money as a woman. Otherwise, you know, are you really successful? So it's just it's unfortunate how things are. Feels forward, but it's also backwards in many ways.
Yeah. Social media has a lot to answer for, I think. It helps, but it also hinders.
There's this pressure to look perfect, you know, and to keep up with the Joneses kind of a thing.
Do you think that your own cultural background with your parents who came here as refugees has shaped your views around money and business?
Yeah, I can't muck around. I think because they came with very little, I had to work extra hard. You know, there's multiple barriers for people who English is their second language, come with nothing, very little education. Obviously, there is potential discrimination, societal views of immigrants and refugees. I think all of that just made me want to work really hard, because my dad is like the example of someone who started in KFC and now is a team leader at Deloitte. And I think over his career progression, he has worked so hard. So that's one. And then I think two are just nothing is impossible. You can push the door down into any room that you want to be in. And I think, you know, I'm expected for what my parents sacrificed to me to do well and be smart with my money and, you know, make something of myself. And I think that could stem from culture as well. I think South Asian culture is very driven on being, you know, working hard and being educated and, you know.
Well, there's probably less of that entitlement, right?
Oh, we have to work for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Coming back to you personally, any particular kind of long-term financial goals around what you're doing?
Oh, yeah. Property. Yeah, I'm saving for my first property at the moment. Though it's really hard because being a business owner is so volatile and there's so many expenses. So the salary I pay for myself to then go save it's volatile. It's up and down. But I think the more I'm working, the more I want that security. So, you know, building out those rainy day funds, then your long-term savings to also go into like a property is what I would really like. So that's what I'm working on anyway.
And does KiwiSaver play a part in that building towards your next financial milestone, that buying a house?
Yes, very nice plug, by the way. But also, yes, so I'm making voluntary contributions, looking to save and put money aside into KiwiSaver. And I've put it in quite like a aggressive growth because I'm assuming it will take me several years to even be able to take it out into a house. So yes, I think that's important. And especially if you're in a full-time job, 100% important to put the maximum amount that you can if you are saving towards a house. Well, that's what I think.
Yeah. Talking about spending and saving, I know that you've got loads, but would you tell me your top 3 money-saving tips for our audience today?
Yes, I would say the first one is for women, especially with makeup. Look at dupes. I love dupes.
I've never heard of this.
So dupes are just like your really high-end makeup brands, but other brands are making knockoffs of it. So there's an ingredient quality match and an efficiency match, which you can actually put through ChatGPT and ask, can you find me the highest quality ingredient and highest efficiency match? So in terms of the same functionalities. Great brands are Imco Beauty, Revlon, L'Oreal, Maybelline. They can't say that they're doing dupes, but I think there's very dupe qualities between the products.
Gotcha.
That's one. 2 would be always buying secondhand and thrifting, never going to huge sales and buying a whole bunch of unnecessary products, which we all fall into, right? Going into Kmart and buying all these things that you don't need. None of that. Only buy what you need. And I think a big thing for me is I keep an Excel sheet of all the things I want to buy. I'm a bit of a nut job, and I tier them, and I also color code them so that I know exactly what is like something I need right now. Then what are some, nice wants. Then you're actually getting what you really need versus always feeling like you don't have enough. Yeah, like I own like 6 tops, 5 bottoms. I don't have a lot of stuff, but I've also learned how to make that work. So I think another thing to do is also read. There's amazing books and magazines. You can even buy them secondhand. There's so many great books on capsule wardrobe, so many great hacks on natural beauty or internal beauty. And then you can learn a lot about styling and home and living and essentials for your kitchen and for your everyday life in the house. So it's mindfulness.
Yes.
So reading, like educating yourself on style, fashion and beauty for more mindful spending. Even if you don't want to buy the book, you can easily, or if you get an Audible subscription, then you can
Or Libby. Have you heard of Libby?
Dr. Libby?
Libby as in the Auckland Libraries app, and you can get all of the magazines and books and all of that out for free on your phone.
Oh, so you can read it on your phone?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Or on a Kobo, which is another
What?
another version of like
Alright.
the Kindle, but you can hook up your Libby app or your Kobo. So there you go.
Okay.
I did not think I'd be
because I find books quite expensive.
Yeah, no,
And
I
then even buying secondhand and waiting to get it.
100%.
No, this is great.
There
Libby.
we go. Yeah,
I'm
Libby.
going to download Libby ASAP.
Cool. There you go. Just finally, what is next for Sabby? Like, what have you got any kind of particular businesses or plans in the shorter term that you're working on that you can share?
Yes. So Boujee on a budget. I am trying to get it into other formats, so other media formats, which I can't really talk about, but working on it.
Yep.
So that's been chugging along. And then in terms of businesses, I'm launching my website with consulting services soon, where people can like book consulting and strategy. So I've been working on that website. And then with my Not the Ordinary agency, we're just in the hard launch phase. So I'm hoping to hard launch, roll it out, and then take a little step back and work on different things. But I think those are the 3 major things that it's always growing, it's always building. Yeah, just making it bigger. Hopefully way more Boujee on a budget videos to come out.
Amazing. Exciting.
Find a man.
That's your 4th one, is it?
Yeah, all women. Yeah.
Love it. I think we'll wrap it up there, but thank you so much, Sabby. I have personally got a couple of tips myself because I am an absolute saver rather than a spender. So some really good things to take away and think about. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This podcast contains personal opinions and is intended to provide educational information only. It doesn't relate to your particular financial situation or goals and is not financial advice or recommendations. Simplicity New Zealand Limited is the issuer of the Simplicity KiwiSaver scheme and investment funds. For product disclosure statements, please visit Simplicity's website simplicity.kiwi.